Alibaba has just started charging sales tax for shipments on their way to the US of A. That's come as a big surprise to a lot of people. This is all part and parcel of the Trump tariffs. Whether or not you believe that is another thing. But certainly, how it's a shock to the system when you're getting charged an extra 8% right up front. So, how can you deal with that? Indeed, is there a way to avoid paying it? There is. I'm going to show you right now. So I asked some of my friends what they have done to skirt this to avoid paying it. Okay. And this is a little bit naughty. So do with the information purely for educational / informational purposes. Okay. So there's a couple of different ways of dealing with it. The first way of dealing with it is to change the address where you're getting the product shipped from. So if you don't understand how Alibaba works when you use it, when you pay something through Alibaba's payment system, you have to put in where the hell the stuff that you're buying is being sent to. Okay. If you change that address to somewhere outside of America, then just like that, that sales tax disappears. And the easiest thing to do is just talk to your supplier and just say, can I use your factory address or trading company address, whatever it is you're using? Hopefully it's a factory. And can I just use that? And if as soon as you do that, boom, that tax has gone from Alibaba's responsibility to collect it. Okay. It's all about responsibility to collect. So that's one way of dealing with it. The other way of dealing with it, a little bit more convoluted, is to not use Alibaba to make the payment for your goods. So Alibaba has this payment protection thing where you can pay a factory and get them to do it. If you use that, then Alibaba is obligated to get the sales tax. If you don't use the Alibaba payment option, then it's hands off for Alibaba and they don't need to charge the tax because you're not paying them. So I use OFX. We get a deal with OFX, by the way, where we get preferential rates on currency. If you're watching this in the thing, then it's at ofx.com/p/Aussie-online-entrepreneurs. Bada boom, bada bing. Okay. And so you get a deal that way too. You get a better rate than you would do ordinarily. And if you put it through OFX, you don't need to pay the sales tax. You can also use PayPal as well, or indeed any other thing like TransferWise, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So that's another way of dealing with this. If you do go through the processor and you want to use Alibaba and you want to use their payment protection program, then a third way of dealing with it is to have an LLC, a limited liability company, in the United States. So if you've got an LLC in the United States, then you can apply for one of these. So a resale certificate, because that's what we do. Okay, we buy from one country, China, Taiwan, wherever it may be. Okay, and then we sell on Amazon in the USA. So wherever your LLC is registered, so mine was in Wyoming, for instance, then I would get my form in that particular jurisdiction. Very, very simple to do. And that by doing that, it's free, by the way. I wouldn't have to pay that upfront sales tax. Okay. Wouldn't have to pay that upfront sales tax. Oh, John's saying that PayPal charges 4%. That seems like a lot. Holy shit. Okay. Anyway, so that form is called Form DR13F. DR13F. There we are, DR13. So DR13 is the form. Okay. And whichever place you've got your LLC organized is where you can use that. Dead easy to do. Okay. So they're the ways to avoid it. And you really ought to avoid it if you can. So number one, just speak to your Chinese supplier and just say, hey, can I just put your address as the shipment address? And if they say yes, bada boom, bada ding. If they say no, then talk to your freight forwarder and say, can I put your address in wherever country it is? Alibaba doesn't give a shit. Okay. They're not checking up, just to be clear on that. They're not checking. They have to charge it if you put certain things in. Okay, so just make it easy for them to not charge it. That's one way. Other way is to use OFX instead of using the payment gateway, the Alibaba Payment Protection Plus. Third way is to use if you've got one, an LLC, and just get Form 13F. Bada boom, bada bing. You again don't have to pay it. Okay, easy peasy. Anything? Ivan says, "My bank account for payment which is not linked to Alibaba." Perfect, Ivan. It's exactly what I was talking about. So you just pay directly into the supplier's bank account. If you've done your research, there's zero risk, in my opinion, paying directly into the bank account of a factory. Dead easy. By the way, if you do that, you ought to be able to get an extra 10% off your bill, because if you do that, then it shows up to the Chinese authorities that that factory, super tip for you here, that factory is exporting their goods, okay? In China, there's a incentive for factories to export where they save a 10% tax what they have to pay, okay? They don't pay that if they're exporting. So if they can show, hey, this money came from Australia, I'm exporting the goods, that saves them 10% tax. You ought to be able to get some of that. 5%, we split it 50-50. Anyway, okay. That's what I do. That was a video from the regular Monday night Q&A session that I host with the members of the Aussie online entrepreneurs. Over 2,500 of us now, not just here in Australia, indeed right around the world and growing. We're actually the fastest growing community of professional e-commerce entrepreneurs here in Australia, with sales, by the way, of over $50 million. If you'd like to find out more about what we do at the Aussie Online Entrepreneurs, be sure to check out the link below, or indeed you can just get yourself off to www.aussieonlineentrepreneurs.com.au. See you in the next video. Bye.